Bill Hastings did a great job in the Tulsa world. I'm not sure when he wrote this article. Last week, guys, Stillwater beats U.S. Grant 85-0. And there was nothing at Stillwater. I mean, Stillwater.
Malicious.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, Coach Barnard said that there was a fumble, and they picked it up where they're supposed to fall down, go out of bounds. Right. A lot of kids had never scored a touchdown before. They got the experience. So Stillwater, 85-0. That's probably the low. And we've seen some games in the past where, it happens. It happens. But Bill had brought up, what about schools like U.S. Grant and some of these other Oklahoma City, Tulsa schools, and not just Oklahoma City, Tulsa schools, there's some other out there as well. Maybe they have their own league. We've seen Western Heights go independent. We've seen Guyman go independent. And not only Bill saying maybe they all play together where you can schedule competitive games. Stillwater U.S. Grant is not going to be competitive.
Never.
And I don't know if it'll ever be again competitive. But what happens if you combine those schools who decide on their own? If U.S. Grant wants to play in a district with everybody else, then that's their choosing. But Bill went a step further and said if they even want to compete for a championship, I don't know what you would call it. I don't know what you would call it. But
like Cassidy and some of these schools in the years past, they had their own independent thing. And, we got to do something, and I guess maybe it's my old age, but the first thing you got to do, protect those kids in those schools.
Yeah.
They want to compete. They want to play the sport. If you're getting beat 85-0, there is nothing good that comes out of that for either side.
For either side.
I mean, the poor Stillwater kids, they're not enjoying that.
That game started at 7 o'clock. It was over at 8:35.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and listen, it's not anybody's fault.
Nope.
I mean, that's the thing, too. It's not OSSA's fault. But the truth is, they're just trying to find bodies to put on a field, and you start playing these really good teams like your Stillwater, which we'll talk about them in the ranking here in a little bit. But you run a real risk of getting somebody hurt. I mean, you really do. I mean, it's a bad situation, and honestly, a game like that, Stillwater could have beat them probably 130-0.
Yeah.
So and when games are out of control like that, and it's because there's just huge. We saw this where we live here in Guthrie, Oklahoma, back in the 07 season, Chris, where it'd be halftime and we'd be winning 60-something-0. And the coaches weren't obviously game planning. They were talking about how do we keep the score from scoring again.
Yeah.
Because it was, no coach wants to beat somebody 80-something-0. I mean,
and that's with the continuous clock, too, in the second half.
Yeah, that's with the continuous clock.
Stillwater had 25 offensive plays.
Well, let me ask you this. If they're going to do that, should they put the mercy rule in effect in all class of ball?
I think the mercy rule. I think the mercy rule is the running clock, because it also there's, for example, the Stillwater game. There's a lot of kids that hadn't played a lot of varsity games that got to play there, although it was a very short amount of time. At least they got in. So I think the running clock
serves that purpose.
Serves that purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I just think there's, and of course in smaller ball, let's say the 8-man where you see the mercy rule. Most of the kids that are out are playing.
Yeah.
So you don't have that situation you have to deal with. So that's a good point. But there's got to be something done, because you got to protect the kids, and you also want to create as much of a competitive scenario as you can for these kids to be able to compete and have that experience and feel what it's like to be in a competitive event, right? I mean, it's no fun to go out there and get your brains kicked.
And that's what Guyman and Western Heights, and we'll use Guyman because we're familiar with Guyman playing in 5A District 2. I mean, Guthrie, Piedmont, McGinnis, Carl Albert, I mean, every single time. And but Bill, in his column, said, here's his idea. There would be the OSSA sanctioned creation of the city conference for football. Membership would be voluntary. Schools that have so few players and resources but want to enjoy football experience for their athletes, they could join the city conference. There wouldn't be a pursuit of a state title. Instead, those schools would compete for their conference championship. Those champions would get rings just like the Bixby, Jinx, Holland Hall kids receive state rings if they ever want to do that.
I would stop short of the ring.
I
mean, you got me all the way up to that, but I think there's too much of this rewarding for everybody that does something. I understand his heart and his intent for that. I get it. Maybe do a medal or do, you could do something, a trophy, a team trophy, but But I think there's just I like everything he said until that part.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
Yeah, no, they need to have something to where, like you said earlier, to just protect the kids or whatever. But yeah, there shouldn't be any kind of championship, in my opinion, like especially not rings or anything like that.
I'd be okay with doing the championship, Ronnie, if they did like a cup, like a team award.
Yeah.
You know, like you're the city conference.
Get like a trophy, like one of those big 6-foot trophies you get, at the end of a season or whatever.
Well,
but
back when I was playing ball, when we wore leather helmets, there was no rings.
Yeah.
If somebody was given a ring, it was a promise ring to Susie.
PG.
You never met
make
Susie.
it more. It should be more like a intramural football league at like a college or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd want it to be something where the kids didn't feel like it was I don't want the kids to feel like people are pitying them. I would want to keep it as much normal and just call it the Urban League Championship or or whatever, how you wanted to do it, and just do like you could do. Because back when we did it, if you won a state title, you got a little medal. Yeah, they'd give you a little medal. Yeah. Everybody had that that they could display. But
I'm just saying, and it's not just Oklahoma City schools and Tulsa public schools. I'm talking like U.S. Grant would play Guyman, and U.S. Grant and Capitol Hill are going, man, if we want to beat Guyman, we got to get, you have those goals.
Still strategize throughout the week.
And they're playing week to week where, you just kind of. And give them full credit. We said this many times. Give those kids full credit because they know they might win one game
coming in,
but they keep going into practice every day.
They
go to games every day.
They do
everything. And so I just like the idea of them, and they still might only win 2 or 3 games, but if there's an X team like a Guyman or Western Heights that's better than everybody, that's, hey, if we want to beat Guyman, we got to get better.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I think it creates a competitive environment.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe U.S. Grant in 8 years is playing in
Western Heights, like a lot of those kids never won a football game until, was it this season? So, I mean,
crazy. So
just to even win a game, even if you only win 1 or 2, that's an accomplishment for those kids.
I would just like to see us do something just to put a bow on this, Chris, if you guys want to move forward. But protect the kids, first of all, because that is an unsafe situation. You got Division I cats running around in college, all kinds of D1, D2, D3 kids on these teams with Stillwater, some of the bigger schools.
And kids still want to play a good hit on somebody.
Yes.
And they're still looking out there to hit somebody.
You can't fault them.
You cannot.
They need to go out and compete, but boy, it would be kind of cool to have like that Urban Cup or the Urban Championship or something.
Yeah.
Where whatever you could come up with that. People smarter than me could come up with that, but something to recognize their competitiveness throughout the year and give them something to play for.
Tulsa Memorial, Nathan Hale, they're winless on the season. What happens if the city conference or the state conference championship was between Tulsa Memorial and U.S. Grant? I mean, they would have their game.
Yeah.
There would be reporters there.
Yeah.
It would be streamed, and they would get all the attention.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And so you turn a negative, what's absolutely, I think everybody would agree right now is a negative, into something that could be a positive experience for the kids. And it takes the pressure off the kids that are with programs that have had more success. It takes the pressure off of them too. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff Chappell told me one time, I said, I never played for a team that was 0 for 10 or 0 for whatever in football. And he goes, I have, and it's no fun.
No.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's just nothing about it that's good. Yeah. It's just nothing about it's good. But I think it's a great article. I think it's good thoughts. Yeah. It really is.
Again, that Bill Hasty, if you want to check it out, Tulsa World, he does a great job. Bill does a great job with high school sports. All of them up there do, but I really like Bill's job or work there.